Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this broadcast today, this weekly rundown on March 2nd, 2020. I'm glad to see y'all rolling in as you do. A couple of announcements before we get this thing going. I do not want you to negate this wonderful intention sheet that my marketing person, Leela Woodward, and I put together. It's awesome in a sense that this is right about the time in which we kind of pull back on all of our resolutions and our intentions for 2020, and you need to get back on track, so to speak. Well, you can download this free intention sheet in the description box below and go on and get that thing. Like, set yourself up for the week, mind, body, and soul, and worldly accomplishments, whatever they may be. You understand what I mean? Keep yourself on track. It's for you. It's free. So go on and get that thing. Also, just to let you know, I do give readings, personal readings. So hit me up in the description box. It'll tell you where to go. I'm trying to think of some other things to say. Oh, this month is the Women's History Month, I should say. So we're going to put together some things for some wonderful, not necessarily giveaways, but opportunities in which we can celebrate the women in our lives. I think it's a necessary thing to do. Listen, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already to my channel. I'd greatly appreciate that thing. I have another section that I do on Thursdays and Fridays, either or, one day. Either Thursday or Friday. It's called On the Move, in which I'm just on the city, in my house, somewhere, doing whatever it is that I do. But a real thought has come through in which I'd like to share that with you and, pass it off as an astrologically speaking type of moment. So you might want to get, that was an inside joke for somebody. Just wanted to say that. So you might want to go ahead and subscribe and tune in a little bit more frequently, because I like when spirit comes through me and hits me in ways in which I'm like off, and then I'm like, I should share that with somebody. So I developed that segment for you and only you. All right. Anyway, who's in the place to be? Audrey's here. Natasha's here. Valerie's here. What's up, Tiana? How you doing, sweetie pie? Jennifer Jordan is here. Sassy Frost. Sassy Fras. Frass. Sassafras. Oh, is that off of sassafras? Oh my God. Anyway, I'm gonna sit here and try to figure it out. Yes, you caught me live, Jennifer Jordan. I'm so glad that you did. Malika's here too. Hello, darling. Yo, can we talk about this week? Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. And we are starting right at 2:55. This week is gonna be interesting. Really, 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 really interesting. I tell you, because there's so much that's going on. Let me start by saying this. I, for one, thought that I was going to dodge some of this little Mercury retrograde kind of feeling because I'm a water sign and I have some water planets. And it's like waterlogging me and drowning me just as much as it is with everybody else. It's a crazy, crazy moment. So yes, y'all, hands in the air, something. If you've been feeling dizzy, if you have had more headaches than not, or more headaches more often than you usually do, or if you've been sleeping a lot, or if you've been quiet, like literally like abnormally quiet, more so in a space of, hey, sweetie pie, in a space of listening and observing, trying to see what's around you, trying not to be too caught up in the sensitivities of the air. So that's what that silence comes from. I tell you honestly, words are coming out of my eyeballs and ears and not out of my mouth this time. I have no idea sometimes what the hell I'm saying, and prayerfully all of this will make sense because it's just coming through so fast and then it gets discombobulated. Yo, Mercury and Pisces, Mercury, you see, I'm like scratching the fucking needle. Mercury and Pisces has been an interesting deal. But this week on Wednesday, it backs up into Aquarius. Fucking scratch the needle, in which it has a whole nother vibration. So did you know, and you probably do because y'all are really smart and half of you have a really strong interest in Western astrology, is whenever Mercury is in retrograde and it's in a particular sign, it affects us differently, right? Some of them may not have an effect on us at all, depending on the sign and where it falls in our chart. And then some just takes us for a loop. Well, when it's in Aquarius, hopefully it doesn't take you for a big enough loop. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Malika, I can't focus to save my life. I'm trying to get my lips to catch the words, man. That's the only way I can focus on what's going on in my brain, is if my lips stops the words from coming out. Squirrel. Anyway, the point of the matter is that when Mercury backs up into Aquarius, it's a whole nother vibration in that Aquarius energy can be quite arrogant, quite rebellious. So maybe here comes the attitude that people are not listening to you and catching your words. You're not catching your own words. So you start to get arrogant, rebellious, a little off put. That's not the right way to address that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. You get a little standoffish, like a little like, God damn it, did you hear what I said? A little frustrated because people are not catching what you're saying, and your arrogance is like, damn it, stupid, you should get it. Don't go there, y'all. And more importantly, don't go there with yourself. Because if we're projecting that to other people because of this Mercury, because of this Mercury upset, then we are projecting it onto ourselves probably 10 times more. I want to say this, it's no one's fault. Mercury doing this thing, and I'm sure I told y'all this before, but let's reiterate it for at least 10 seconds. When Mercury goes through this, it allows us to slow down so we can really pay attention and be more observant to the things that are around us so we don't get as tripped up. However, it double backs on us and trips us up even more if we're trying to keep the same pace. We can't keep the same pace as we do when Mercury is direct. It doesn't work. So we have to slow down. Slow our bodies down, slow our thinking down, slow our driving down, and get a hold of who we are in this moment. Hence, a small part of the title, who we are in this moment, so we can react and speak from a space of truth. Because if we don't do that, we can burn bridges. If we don't do that, we can burn relationships that don't need to be burned. Like, really, not everybody needs to leave out of our lives. There are a lot of good people in our lives who have flaws too, in which we can compassionately and understandingly like talk to one another about what. That's not a word either. How do you say that word? Understandingly. What the fuck? Anyway, squirrel. So we can pipe down just a touch and hear where people are coming from. Compassion is necessary. It's there when it's in Pisces, but when it goes into Aquarius, it's gonna look kind of snarky, kind of sarcastic, real heady, feeling really wired, like almost like a computer in your brain, and how the computer like fucking shorts or something, and you're like, and you feel like a robot or some shit, and you're like stuck on one thought, and then you're mad because people catch you on that one thought, and then you're like, well, what? I've been talking. Like, no, you've been on that one thought. You're tweaking out, and you don't even see yourself fucking tweaking out. What are you doing? Again, hence starts the reaction, starts the responses, starts the burning bridges. Don't do that, y'all. Take your time and pull back, slow down. All right. This is a hella retrograde period. And I just think that there's so much on the other side out of this. But like I said in the On the Move broadcast prior to this, you should check that thing out. What I got hit with was the fact that we have to remain above it, especially when it's in Pisces. Remain above the chaos. Remain above the wiry kind of feeling when it backs up into Aquarius. Remain above it all. So like we're having an aerial view of the world and our life. Almost detach yourself from it. Perfect. Why? Because Aquarius is about detachment. Thank you, Spirit. Detach yourself from it in a sense where you're rising above it and you're going, ooh, Sonia, you look crazy for thinking that and saying that. You should probably pull back and apologize. I'm so sorry. Let me say this again. This is what I really mean. You understand what I'm saying? Detach yourself from the situation so you can get a bigger picture of it, because it's crazy. And there's a lot of aspects. I'm going to say a lot. There's about 3 or 4 aspects this week that's leaning towards that Mercury retrograde that can double time that effect. Understand what I'm saying? It's not going to be easy this week, y'all. We've all had our share of being emotional, connecting. I wanted to say something about the above. Hold on. And connecting with who we are, connecting with spirit. That's what I wanted to say. Being above it also allows us, in which I said in the other broadcast, Mercury retrograde period, just roll with me, y'all. Which I said before is we have to rise above it so we can touch spirit. Rise above it and see the bigger picture. Rise above it and see the detachment of it all. Because as we do that, we can hear God say, no, not there. We can hear our intuition go, you shouldn't have done that, baby. We can hear our angels guide guide us, feel them push us, like lead us in the right directions. When we rise above that, we're out of control in the best way possible. That's what I wanted to hone in on. And then aside from that, there are some aspects to Mercury retrograde this week that's going to make that feeling a little bit more intense. It's going to make that challenge of rising above it a little bit more arduous. So you have to be patient with yourself and others, okay? It's going to balance out in a little while, but before we do that thing, keep your lips trapped as best as you can. I entitled this video "As Long as You Know Who You Are," because Venus is going into Taurus on Wednesday, same day that Mercury is backing up into Aquarius. That's a big deal. And before it does that, and even after it, there's some major aspects in which I'm going to tell the village, a little private little community that we have going on that I run on Facebook. And if you need to know about that, click the link in the appropriate link in the description box below the video. Ba 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 do ba ba ba. Man, get the words right, formulate them. Okay. No. So the thing is that there's a lot going on with Venus's intro into this week's dealings. Are y'all hearing me? Ooh. Okay. I have to slow myself down so I can get my thoughts right. Venus is the planet of money. Venus is the planet of value and self-worth. Hence, know who you are. When Venus is aspected, negatively or positively, again, like I said, with Mercury, it amps it up. It revs it up. That's when we pay more attention. Okay. So Venus is reminding us this week to know who we are, because we will be tested, not only through a communicative thing, but also through people punking us about our value and our worth. Hence, Venus. It's a big deal. In the midst of us trying to say what we need to say, in the midst of us thinking and organizing through Mercury retrograde, that's a big deal. That's a fucking headache that I have to continue to remind you of who I am. And I sleep with you. I take you to school. I talk to you every single day on the phone, whoever it may be. I come to work and see you every day, and I got to remind you of who I am. Yep. Number one, because Mercury is doing a flip-flop and it's going bananas and it's backing up into another sign. And number two, because Venus is going into a stubborn-ass sign of Taurus, which it likes to be, though. But Taurus is stubborn. So when I tell you who I am, I'm looking at you like, dummy. Remember who I am. Stubborn, staying there in my own self-worth, knowing who I am. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It absolutely is nothing wrong with you standing your ground and knowing who you are and doing your best to communicate that. However, this may be the week that you don't want to communicate it so eloquently, because it won't come off like that. Oftentimes, we just have to stand in that thing. Trust me when I tell you, it's harder than most people think to just stand there in a vibration of knowing who you are. Why? Because people like to ask questions and pick and prod and actually test you to be able to tell them who you are without saying too much, but not incite a riot, not incite a conversation or an argument around it. Because if we know who we are, and how about this? If we are striving to be better, is anybody learning to grow up and to not respond in a way in which we have in the last 2 days, 2 months, 2 years even? You understand what I'm saying? And growing up, our reaction rate is differently. So people are going to test that to see how grown you are. And our stubbornness is going to want us to sit in that and kind of punk you to think, well, oh, you don't know? No, I don't know. Well, then you need to say something. Taurus is about manifesting, switching gears a little bit. And when Venus goes into Taurus, this is a whole nother level of this vibration, which is awesome as hell, because this adds almost to the stubbornness and the arrogance of Venus being in Taurus, right? And standing in your ground. It also loves to manifest and bring forth money and opportunities its way. That's tricky. As you're standing your ground, you know in your bomb, you see the money coming, you get even more swelled in your ego. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do that. Did y'all get that? Taurus is about manifesting. So if Venus is the planet of money and value, self-worth, and love, it wants to manifest that when it's in Taurus. All of those things I just listed. Taurus opens itself up and says, yes, come on in because I love quality. Venus is Taurus's planet. That's a beautiful, exalted feeling right there in astrology. It's exalted. Venus is exalted in Taurus. It's like, yo, this is what I love. I love feeling like I have a bunch of affection for people around me. I love the feeling of love and money because Taurus loves money. Venus is money. Y'all getting this? I love the feeling of standing in my worth and being stubborn in my shit, but knowing who I am without having to profess it always. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love food. Taurus and Cancers are the two foodies of the zodiac. Did y'all know? Did y'all know? Did y'all know? Love food. Cancers love food because we just goddamn greedy. I say it all the time. Tauruses love food because you love the presentation, the smell, and the sights, the sensuality of food, how it invokes your eyesight, your feel, the smell, the what are the other senses? Touch, feel, the hearing of the crackling of the bacon. Whatever senses it can evoke, it does that thing, right? So it's time to eat, but I'm gonna tell you, you can either spend a lot of money on eating good or you could just eat a lot because it looks good. Does that make sense? Either or, watch what you eat. If you're trying to get that little body together before the sunshine peeks in more times than not, watch what you eat. It is a time in which we are not only love food, Taurus, like I just explained, and we want to consume, we also like to consume to boggle down feelings that's going on, and we don't want to share that with anybody. Ding, 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 ding. Yo, know who you are so you're not self-sabotaging. Know who you are so you're not eating yourself to a pulp and having emotional eating spells throughout this Venus and Taurus position, especially with this Pisces energy that's happening too, because Pisces is all about self-sabotaging and escapism. You dig what I'm saying? Putting and afflicting the pain on you. Pisces does that, and Taurus does that very, very well. Let me slow down. I want you to realize that it is not your fault. I don't know why I said that and it came out like that, but I want you to know that whatever it is that you're going through in this moment right now, it is not your fault. You are not to blame. Okay, we are all trying and learning and falling and busting our lip and getting up and being victorious and being the best that we can be in this moment. When Venus goes into Taurus, somehow, some way, we want to love up, spend money, be affectionate. But the flip side of that too is to be a martyr, take on the pain of all things that seem good and all things that want to stuff us and stuff the pain that's going on inside of us. Whatever you're going through, whatever patience that you have for the change that you need in your life, it is not your fault. Let the time pass. Be patient with yourself and with others. Don't be a martyr for those around you. Neither be a martyr for your damn mistakes that you make. Like, die for yourself. Who dies for themselves? That was weird. But you understand what I'm saying? Punishing yourself. Does this make sense to y'all? Yes, yes, y'all? For real? Like, does it really? I want y'all to notice is that we are all being watched. We're all being followed. We're all being assisted in the ways in which we need to. When we open up to Venus and Taurus, we open up to the manifestation levels that we can't even see, y'all. You have to trust that. Instead of saying to yourself, it's not happening fast enough, it's happening too slow, it's happening, it's not happening slow enough, it's going too fast. I'm not satisfied in this moment. So what? I'm gonna eat. So what? I'm going to spend more money. You understand what I'm saying? Venus in Taurus, while Mercury is spinning out of control, doing its own thing. There's a lot of wicky, wacky kind of mishmash of the mishmashes in this thing this week. And it's very, very difficult to see what is the pleasant thing to hold on to, the manifestation piece to hold on to, the light at the end of the tunnel thing to hold on to, And it's very tricky to see how we're self-sabotaging, how we're hurting ourselves, how we're hurting ourselves by being too stubborn, how we're hurting ourselves by not speaking our truth. And then when we don't speak our truth, or I should say, then when we do try to speak our truth, it comes off all arrogantly and boastfully because we don't necessarily feel like people are listening to us. So when it's time to open our mouth, it comes out like blah. And you're like, what? What the hell? Relax. Everybody's thrown off. I hope this makes sense to you. There's way too much going on in this week for you to be way too assertive. Trust me when I tell y'all this. I'm not saying it's not a time to do your work. I'm not saying it's not a time to like go forward and be who you are. I mean, it's retrograde period. You can only do but so much. But the point of the matter is that as we move forward, we have to be more aware and more sensitive in our senses of what's going on around us so we don't make mistakes and add, and make mountains out of molehills. That's what that shit is about. Does that make sense to y'all? I really, really hope so. I want to be able to give y'all one more aspect that's happening this week. Yes. And I'm just going to blatantly come out and say it. Saturday is a day. Saturday is a day in which the moon is going to be in Leo. I'm so glad that y'all hear what I'm saying. In which the moon is going to be in Leo on Saturday. And honestly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to quincux 5 planets. Quincux is, I never pronounce it right. So I don't want anybody like judging me on the way I pronounce quincux. I just Quincux. Anyway, the point of the matter is it's an irritation. And the moon being emotions on Saturday is going to be a big irritation to how we move, how we shine, how we how powerful we are, the blessings that come in, and the fogginess that comes around us, the uncertainty that comes around us. Saturday is a day in which you probably just want to pick your toes. Just remember, I said that. All right. It's not a day to do too much because everything guaranteed will probably irritate the fuck out of you. It's just a nice little warning. And it's okay, right? For you to be irritated, but it's better for you to have the little warning. So, maybe if I just, if I have a lot to do, I can just be quiet. Maybe if I have a lot to do, I can just be in a space where I can put my sunglasses on or do what I need to do and observe everybody that's around me. Just chuckle when I need to, not add too much of anything. So you don't let anybody bring you off your square, take you off your square. Does this make sense to y'all? I really, really pray that it does, because this is a moment in time in which we are taught. How about that? We are really tested to be the humans that we are. And what I mean by that is that even though we feel like there's an ethereal kind of spiritual prowess that's going on above and around us, and our ancestors and our guides are pushing us forward, we have to be able to balance out the human in us. Because not everybody knows what that spiritual feeling is all about, what that high is all about. Not you, but people around you that are trying to deal with you. You dig what I'm saying? So it's almost like being an angel, being a ghost, being transparent and having to walk through people. We kind of have to have that visual, because not everybody knows that they are being controlled by what's happening around them. And they want to take control of who they are. Not in an arrogant sense, not in a standing in your lane kind of sense. Not even that. In a way in which you just feel like I should just be the one. I can handle it all. Well, sometimes you can't. And sometimes it's all right to pull back and just let shit flow. And if you miss an opportunity in the moment, if you miss an important phone call in the moment, if somebody sideswipes you and you can't catch up to them because you really want to fucking flip them the bird and get their license plates, let them go in the moment. This is a tricky time in which we have to be above the clouds. We got to be able to see it for really, really, really what it's worth, instead of being too far in it and trying to slug it out along the way. You want to be right, or you want to be peaceful? Everybody knows that. Michael Franks got a song about that too. I love that. I love Michael Franks. Y'all like Michael Franks? He's the bomb diggity. He has a song. You want to be peaceful? You want to be right? That should have been the goddamn title. How about that? But while you're deciding whether you want to be peaceful or be right, know who the fuck you are. Stand in your truth always. Always. And we don't necessarily have to communicate it all the time, because sometimes it's nobody's business but our own. I hope you have a wonderful week. I really, really do. And I'll be praying for each and every one of you, including myself, because prayers will lift us up and through this moment. It's only temporary, more than anything else. Prayers crack dimensions. They really, really do. Take care of yourself, all right? All right, bye.